Chair of, oops, Chair of the Oregon Board of Accountancy Peer Review Oversight Committee, which we refer to as PROC. And I call this public meeting of our committee to order at 1:01 p.m. on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. This meeting's open to the public and is being held by Zoom, and it is being recorded. The purpose of the PROC is to provide oversight of the administration of approved peer review programs in order to provide reasonable assurance that peer reviews of Oregon licensees are conducted and reported in accordance with the minimum standards for performing and reporting on peer reviews. PROC will review and submit to the board for approval peer review programs that comply with the minimum standards for performing and reporting on peer reviews. PROC will provide oversight of approved peer review programs to the board. PROC will comply with all other requirements as provided for in OAR 801, Division 050. In the performance of duties as a member of a committee appointed by the board, all committee members will support the mission, goals, and values of the board. Committee members will not disclose confidential information that comes to their attention during the course of carrying out their responsibilities. Requests to any committee member for copies of public information or for a public statement relating to committee or board matters will be referred to the deputy and executive director. Board and committee members are expected to attend all meetings and be prepared for the discussion by reading the agenda material prior to the meeting. Committee members are expected to participate in the individual review of applicant files as assigned, providing timely notification to the committee coordinator if a potential conflict of interest exists. Likewise, committee members must provide timely notification to the committee coordinator of any conflict of interest in any matters being discussed. So I'm going to move on to introducing the members. Members of the committee, please remember to mute your microphones during the meeting to avoid unnecessary background noise, and do not use the chat room feature for any discussions. When you want to speak, you may unmute yourself and state your name prior to speaking. Should any technical issues arise, we'll pause the meeting until they're resolved. So we'll now take roll of all participating members and guests. And you will, as I call your name, please state your name and that you're present. So Brenda Bartlett, I am here. John Howell.
Jonathan Howell, present.
Carrie Ott.
Carrie Ott, present.
Pamela Parks.
Pamela Parks, present.
And Michelle Rich.
Michelle Rich, present.
All right, and board staff via Zoom, we have Andrew Barlow.
Andrew Barlow, board staff.
Marilyn Varner.
Marilyn Varner, board staff.
Okay, Martin Pitioni.
Martin Pitioni, present.
And Quinn Stoddard.
Quinn Stoddard, present by Zoom.
Okay. See. And then our OSCPA peer review program representative is Darlene Bowles.
Darlene Bowles, present by Zoom, and I'm requesting that I be sent the packet. I didn't receive the packet or the Zoom link.
And then our board liaison is Megan Hartley. Megan Hartley, who is not present today, but Tanya Moffett has agreed to be present in her place.
Tanya Moffett, present via Zoom.
Okay. Any other guests or members of the public present by Zoom or at the office? Okay. All right, let's proceed to review and approve the draft agenda. So just the usual reminder applicable to all PROC meetings that the minimum quorum is 4 voting members. We need to stop PROC business if we fall below 3 at any point during the meeting. For any votes, we'll need to ask for a second to the motion. So let's take a look at the agenda. If everybody's taken a look at that draft agenda, let me know if anybody has any proposed changes to the agenda.
I never received the agenda. I've been looking for a little while. Okay. Because somebody's not out to Carrie, please.
Anybody else not receiving the agenda?
I didn't get an agenda.
It was emailed on the 9th is when I got mine. So, but I'm sure we can forward a copy to you. Probably best if it comes from Martin. I could forward you mine, but it's probably best.
I just sent it to Carrie.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. All right. In the meantime, I think I'll just share it, let you guys glance at it real quick. Is that okay? Okay. Oh, it is not turned on for this meeting. Should I read through it just so we can vote on it, Martin?
I think it might be simpler to just post it. Andrew, since you're at least a host or co-host, do you mind just doing a screen?
Oh, it's letting me share now.
Yeah, I changed.
I think he must have turned it on for me. All right, here we go. All right, is that the right screen? Are you guys seeing the right screen? Or are you seeing a different? Oh. Are you seeing the agenda
Chair
screen?
draft, not the public agenda.
We're
Yeah.
seeing your agenda. That's not
Oh, okay.
your script on it.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Oops. I'm gonna stop sharing then.
The public one was sent on Friday. Brenda, I can try and share it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Can everybody see it now?
I can.
Okay, great. So this is just the announcement information and the web links, and then we just completed call to order. And so here's where we are.
It looked like it's a different screen. We're seeing your email now.
Oh, yeah, we are seeing a different screen now.
Oh, great. You know, when I move something from
Okay.
one screen to another, it doesn't get happy. Let me try it again. No, nope, that's not it.
Does everybody have it now?
I have the agenda.
Okay.
You
Let's just take a quick look through it and let me know if you need any changes. Anything that we should add or. Okay. All right. All right, so I will call for a motion to accept the draft agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the draft agenda. This Pamela Parks.
This is Carrie. I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye and your name.
I, John Howell.
I, Brenda Bartlett.
I carry out.
I, Michelle Rich.
I, Pamela Parks.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. So any public comment? Let's see, any members of the public here? All right. So our first agenda item after the public comment is just the old business of tracking prior meeting firms. So just an update, that firm number 41, they elected to drop from peer review. Does anybody need any other information on that? I'm assuming they're just now going to do tax, so they're not going to do any more of those engagements is what that amounts to. Would that be a good assumption, Darlene?
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree, Brenda. Once a firm has decided to be dropped from peer review, they're no longer under the jurisdiction of the RAB, and then we're not required to do oversight. So,
Yep. So we'll take that off of our tracking. And then firm number 44 was referred to the AIC by the RAB. And it looks like there's no hearing date scheduled at this time. So that's just an update on a couple of the firms that we've been tracking. And then let's see. We do need to do committee member reports. And Carrie, do you mind going first? Because I need to bring my notes up.
Partnership. Sure, I can do that. So I attended the RAD meeting on December 19th of 25. And they went over quite a few different things. The one thing that I on my checklist was the fact that they have two different review checklists right now, and one's with the new quality control standards and one's without new control standards. So I thought that was kind of interesting on that. I didn't have any Hawaii firms at all, so wasn't in and out a lot, so that was kind of nice. It's always interesting to look at and hear what everybody says and all the good discussions. And they went over 6 different reports. Very interesting to see the differing views on different things and then how they discuss those and kind of get those settled. So overall, I thought it was a pretty effective meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I attended the November 14th RAB meeting. I used our new checklist that really was helpful to just kind of assimilate my thoughts. And so I'm just going to kind of go through that. Some of the things that are on this checklist is, do the RAB members appear to be knowledgeable about their responsibilities? And that's an unqualified yes. Everybody on the committee, they do a great job. Great discussion, robust discussions. They resolve all of I wouldn't say there's ever any disagreements, but there's definitely times where, one person might say, let's move on, and another might say, but wait, let's think about this. They're just really good about that, kind of brainstorming. So I appreciate that. All those disagreement type items are resolved before they move on. And then one thing to note is the AICPA was actually attending the meeting that I attended. So it was interesting to hear their perspective as well. Sort of, what do you call that, Darlene, what they're doing? Is it just the monitoring that they're doing?
That particular meeting was our AE oversight, which we get every 2 to 3 years. And they observe a RAB meeting and then they do a whole bunch of other procedures as well. So that's kind of like them auditing our program.
Yep.
Several times a year, we'll have a RAB observation, which is just someone reviewing the RAB. We get those 2 to 3 times a year.
Okay. So, I felt like everything went really well. The AICPA did have one comment on a recommended corrective action. They did basically say that the classification that the RAB was going to assign to that was not correct. So I think that was something they were going to include in their report. It had something to do with what the RAB believed was a repeat finding, so the corrective action I think was a little bit more serious. And the AICPA had basically said that actually technically wasn't a repeat finding. So it was interesting to hear that feedback, just getting that kind of feedback. But everything, I was pretty impressed. And then the AICPA had really, really positive comments about the Oregon program. Just really happy with what they had seen. And so they had really good things to say about how the program is conducted. So I just wanted to share that. This was really good to hear. So that's my report on that. Okay, any questions? If I didn't write it down, I might not be able to answer, but I will try. Okay. So upcoming meetings to be assigned, I think, let's see, Pamela, you are going to attend the RAB on January 23rd. Awesome. And then it looks like on February 11th, there's an AICPA open session, the peer review board. Anybody interested in attending that? I don't think we assigned it, but I could have missed it in my notes. John, were you wanting to attend one of those? You're on mute.
I did attend the PRB,
Okay.
the ICPA PRB in November. I could do this one if because it's 7 a.m. EST, which is going to be 7 in the morning our time. Correct? I
Mhm.
I could attend this one but if one of the other board members does not want to or is not able to.
And then we must have missed you. I missed you on reporting out, though. Can we add that to the agenda without a vote, Martin?
I think you're good without a vote because it is part of the reporting.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, John. I think we missed that on the agenda. I'm just going to back up and let you report out on that, and then we'll go back to assigning the next one.
Okay, great. Well, a fair amount of time was spent discussing, the new potential standards for dealing with firms that are owned by private equity. So firms that have significant non-CPA ownership. Really the focus of the AICPRB is towards firms that have PCAOB level reporting requirement, and that is their primary concern in terms of looking at, the factors of independence and, ultimately who are the decision makers. And that's really their big concern, I think, at this point in time is PCAOB firms doing PCAOB audits. I don't think that my impression, and Martin was there as well and can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that their focus had proceeded down to the local firm level, kind of where we're functioning. Um, Interestingly, and as a complete aside to this, just a matter of public information, it was announced last week that DeLapp LLC and Hoffman Stewart Schmidt, who both have substantial A&A practices in the Portland area in Western Oregon, were both acquired by private equity last week. They were acquired by Aprio. Um, so, what's going on in our market and amongst the persons that are subject to the AICPA peer review program here, and then the RAB, and then that comes under our oversight. This trend is accelerating here. But as I said, right now, I don't think that any of those aspects or concerns were on the radar um, of the AICP peer review board at that time. Another thing that I was really listening for that I did not hear, and again, Martin was at the same meeting, so he can say, is, my real concern has been that the public disclosure aspects of ANA, and that persons that are performing ANA engagement with the state are reported as working for X firm to that state board of accountancy, which is a statute, which is an Oregon statute. And that was also something that they didn't seem to be terribly concerned about, because most of these arrangements that I've seen locally at least appear from the outside looking in, to be situations where the audit and the test staff, pretty much from manager down through senior, down through staff level and new hire, are all leased employees, and they're leased from the private equity owned firm, while the original historic attest firm remains on the remains on the board, registered with the Board of Accountancy as the entity that's subject to peer review. So it's a little bit of an interesting dichotomy there. Again, the issues with PRB were really focused on independence, how we extend independence procedures upward from the audit and attest team to the private equity ownership entity, and address their independence conflicts and their conflicts of interest. It really seemed to be the main focus. I mean, it's like public companies and how do we protect the public there. I think once they get satisfied with that, and this is very typical of the AICPA, I think that those standards will then come down to non-PCAOB reporting firms, and then we'll see some further guidance there. But I think this is really the first step, and the one that the AICPA peer review board considers most critical at this juncture. Any other
Great.
questions or comments?
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Does anybody have any would like to and have the capacity to participate in the PRB on February 11th?
On this one, I have a conflict, so I really would love it if somebody on the committee is doing. I now try to go to every single one of them because it's all become just a very hot topic and overlap to the private equity piece. But on this one, I'm stuck in an AICPA NASBA meeting that I can't get out of.
Okay. If nobody else can do it, I can do it. I know some people who are doing tax could be pretty busy during that time. I don't do tax, so
Yeah, I
happy
would.
to take it on if anybody else.
No, that's great, Brenda, and I
Okay.
think that would be great. And I think the important thing is that we get the materials and at least share them with Martin so that he gets the materials from the meeting. And I wouldn't mind seeing them too. If you why don't you do this? Why don't you forward them to Martin, and then Martin will forward them to me. And then because I just kind of would like to keep in touch with that as well. It's important that we keep Martin in the loop on this because he has to talk to people about it, and we'll have to talk to people about it more and more as we move forward.
Okay, I will put that on. And then I never can find the link to those. Can Andrew or Martin send me that when you have it?
I will volunteer to hunt that down.
Thank you. I'm sure I could find it, but I've tried and I
It's
have
not
the worst luck.
for me either, but I'm happy to take that work
Okay, thank you.
off, off your hand.
Okay. All right. And then we have Michelle on the February 20th RAB. And again, anybody interested in March 20th? If not, happy to take it. I got to look at my calendar just because I know a lot of you are doing tax at that time.
Yeah, Brenda, I will do the May. I can do both May meetings. I just got to get
Okay.
through tax season.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to do both Mays? I'm just go back to my agenda here.
Yeah, that's fine. Unless someone else
AICPA and the RAB. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will do March because I know you guys will probably be shoulders deep in the tax season. 20 RAB.
Thank you
Okay.
both for covering those.
All right. All right. So we're assigned through, I think, our next meeting. So we're in good shape. Next agenda item is the proc board rule updates.
So, Brenda, if you don't mind me jumping in here
I would love that. Thank you.
and taking that on because it's a little bit it's very important that I keep this very limited because in essence this has to be for purposes of this meeting today exclusively a procedural update because in essence the rules related to getting that include getting credit for service on certain board committees including proc as well as what we discussed, which is the Division 30 update around giving the board explicit authority to take disciplinary action based on peer review results. Those are now in the exposed stage. And because they are in the formally exposed stage, we are strictly not permitted to make any kind of a substantive discussion on them here because any substantive pieces either have to now come in this phase as a written comment or during the oral comment period at the January 29 board meeting at 9 a.m. So we actually cannot, without us getting in trouble, have a substantive discussion about the content. So this has to be limited to just a procedural update, and we're simply making nice progress. This is an kind of as fast as possible regular rulemaking, because quite frankly, the two items that are on here are not really the primary focus of those rules. The primary focus of those rules really is on other topics such as the updates to the licensure pathways. And because of that, we're under a great deal of time pressure to get those rules done. That's a main item. It's a big item for the January 29 board meeting, and we hope for a rule effective date on February 2. I can be a lot more explicit about what actually happened and in terms of comments and having substantive stuff once we're done with that rulemaking and can follow up a little bit more at the May proc meeting.
All right. Thank you so much for that update. I appreciate it. All right. Moving right along to a discussion of consecutive non-pass firms. We have just the one. this time, and that is firm number 45 with 2 consecutive pass with deficiencies. I read through it. I'd be happy to hear any discussion items, any concerns. I I didn't have a ton of concern in terms of tracking this particular firm just due to the circumstances and feeling like the RAB actions were good, but I would love to hear from everybody else.
So Brenda, this was the one where in the 2022 peer review, the RAB had recommended that they have 4 hours of continuing CPE in SARS. So this was directed towards compilation and review engagements and not audit. And then also
Yep.
4 hours in financial statement preparation and disclosure. Then
Mhm.
they were going to hire an outside party acceptable to do post-issuance review. So, this is not a firm that's doing a bunch of audit work. And then, let's see, they asked for several extensions to get that done, just to recap. Um,
Yeah, and there were material misclassifications on income and cash flows. So some debt forgiveness, federal income tax credits were reported not in accordance with GAAP, I presume. So,
so the 2025 peer review conditions were they complied with the actions. Um, they requested an extension to hire an outside party to perform post-issuance review of the report and financial statements for the next review engagement. So one engagement or review engagement subsequent to completion of the CPE. And um,
review engagement. Yep.
yeah, so they're complete. So
Yep. Yeah.
pass with deficiency. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know that these are. I feel like the RAB's response here is appropriate.
Right. I didn't have any concerns that I really could come up with. So anybody, because we definitely want to track things that we want to follow up on. And this one, I um, didn't have any significant concerns that I felt like needed tracking and follow up. So anybody else, though, I definitely want to hear from everybody if they think this is worthwhile to track.
I agree. This is Pamela Parks. I agree with the comments of Brenda and John. I think what the RAB came up with is appropriate, and I don't have any further concerns.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Oh, okay. Moving on to our tabled and upcoming agenda items. I'm just coming off a really busy municipal audit season, so I haven't had a chance to even think about what this looks like on an agenda, but we'll have it ready. We are required to perform a biennial program review, and so I need to do a deep dive into what that looks like, and then we'll discuss it. I had hoped to discuss it in January, but whew, way off my radar. Sorry. So we'll talk about that in May. Um,
Could I ask a quick question, Brenda?
yes.
I think wasn't Darlene, this is John Howell, just for the record, wasn't Darlene Boyles indicating that the AICPA oversight of the RAB had just been completed or wrapped up, and
Yes.
they have their report?
Yep.
So I think you probably start with that report, Brenda, and then kind of decide where you're going to go from there, was what I
Yep.
would recommend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't remember, Darlene, when is that expected to be issued? I remember them talking about that, but I don't think I have notes on it.
It'll be in the late spring sometime.
Okay, great. Perfect. All right. So that's good news. And then I did want to just mention that I will send our annual report. Nobody had any comments last meeting. We all pretty much approved it. I'll send our annual report to Martin or Andrew or both. the final, so that they can get it to the board.
Thank
So,
you. I was just about to ask you about that. So thank you so much.
yes, yes, right. So it has been also a victim of
If,
December. So,
if
but
at
I will
all,
get it. I'm going on vacation on Saturday, so it will be to you before that, and I will be
oh,
very grateful to be on vacation. So,
that would be amazing because we have a
yeah.
board 29th, and it will be awesome if we can include that in there.
Okay, you got it.
Any
All
help,
right.
call me. Okay.
Yep. Okay, and I guess our next proc meeting then is May 12th, 2026. So anybody have any other questions or comments that we should consider in the next agenda?
I do, Brenda. I saw John's email that stated that you and him are going to be terming out sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
So we should probably figure out what we're going to do without you guys.
Yeah, it is definitely on my radar of our May agenda. We should be talking about that. So,
Good.
yep. Okay.
This is Darlene Bowles. When are your terms expiring?
According to John, it's in October.
Yeah, it's end of
Oh, okay.
October,
Okay.
2020. Yeah, so the question was about our November 3rd meeting that Brenda and I we would be termed out at that point in time. So, um,
Okay. Just want
Gone
to
very
let you know,
fast.
we're working on the confidentiality letters that they will be sending out. So everybody will get one of those. Nobody new has been added, to my knowledge, to this prop committee, correct? Okay. Yeah. So Jennifer's working on those. Those will be hitting your inboxes, and just if you could turn those around really quickly, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Great.
Your
All
committee
right.
is not the only one that needs new members. So if you guys have friends that you want to recommend for any of the committees, please feel free to pass those names along to the board staff.
Okay, we will. It's great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If there's nothing further, I am going to adjourn the Oregon Board of Accountancy proc meeting. It is 1:33 p.m.